Remember May 10th when after a rough outing on Saturday against the Cincinnati Reds, Lance McCullers, per Joe Espada, we found out had received death threats. Espada was pissed at his post-game press conference. Unprompted, brought it up. McCullers was asked about it, said, I can't believe they brought my kids into it. And we waited and waited and waited to figure out who was the son of a bitch who sent Lance this threat against him, against his family. But we now know. Houston police say a frustrated bettor was behind the death threats directed at Houston Astros starter Lance McCullers and his family. The man was identified and was found to be a resident overseas. The man told investigators he lost money wagering on the Astros. Pause. One more time. If you are betting on the Astros to win a game where Lance McCullers is making his second start back in 3 years against an interleague team, you're effing crazy, if not stupid and Chris Broussarded, right? You're just dumb starting off there. But he also said he was inebriated and he lashed out on social media. Sounds like our Twitch. Police say they're withholding the suspect's identity, which is lame, as no charges have been filed yet. The suspect was apologetic and asked that investigators pass on his apologies to McCullers' family. What a P word! I don't say that anymore on this show. What a coward. You can't even apologize to him directly? You clearly had access to his DMs. You couldn't apologize? What a bitch. At the very least, apologize. Do you not want to be in trouble? I suppose if you're living in another country, there's no way you'll be in trouble. But he asked that investigators pass on his apologies to Lance McCullers' family. Sir, you need to do that yourself. My parents had two strategies to make me feel guilty about things. I was raised Catholic, already did. Whenever I did something wrong, my mom would force me to write a handwritten note. It wasn't like Bart Simpson writing the same thing over and over again on a chalkboard. No, it was you had to write a heartfelt note. And if it didn't seem heartfelt, back to the lab you go. So that's what my mom did. My dad had an alternative strategy. When I had to apologize to him for stuff that I did, he would make me apologize with a British accent. It would relieve the tension in the room immediately. It actually was really funny because generally I would be mad about the things I was apologizing to my dad for. But then when you're apologizing to your dad in a Cockney accent, I'm sorry, father. I'm sorry for sitting. There's just something about it that eases the tension in the air. But this guy gave death threats, not just to Lance McCullers, after a start on a Saturday against the Cincinnati Reds. You watched that? Sorry, you need a life, especially if you're living in another country. Gambling's all I got. Okay. Someone in the Twitch Rare Candy said, imagine the odds for betting on Lance McCullers against the Reds. Probably not that good. They're the Reds. They blow. Although they're around 500 around the time. So this guy, this foreigner, is coming after our guy. How do we get justice for Lance McCullers? We don't even know what this guy's name is, so we can't bully him online. Paul, couldn't bullying him online result in, I don't know, serious harm, serious consequences? Well, the guy threatened somebody, so I mean, what goes around comes around, right? How do we get to this guy? How do we deliver justice? I thought about it. In the immediacy after this story, I believed that an acceptable punishment for this guy would be to stand in the batter's box against Lance McCullers and face 60 to 100 pitches. And if you want to make it worth Lance's time, this guy would have to pay Lance McCullers A game check. How about that? Stand in the batter's box for 100 pitches and give him a game check. But maybe a better way to do it would be to give Lance McCullers restitution for the cost of security if he actually was a nice guy and wanted everyone to, not dox him on the internet. That's what we should do. Blackmail him with a little doxing so that he could potentially, if he so chooses, try to find amends with a little thing that we like to call money, American dollars. Wonder how many American dollars to whatever his currency is in his country. So those are, acceptable punishments that I believe are also possible and plausible and fair. But we could go further. I mean, this is a city with wealth. I know we have people that cosplay as him. Is there a vigilante that would be willing to extradite this person like Batman in The Dark Knight when he extradites that Chinese banker guy? Is there anybody that would be willing to do that? Fly a plane into whatever country this guy's from and somehow nab him? I doubt his security is as good as that guy in Hong Kong. The Chinese will never extradite one of their own. Well, that's what Batman's for. Sean, what do we have anyone like this? Is there anyone that's capable of being a vigilante? Would it have to be Musk or Bezos or one of the other rich people?
I'm trying to think of Houston area. I think money helps, considering I don't know anyone with superpowers. It seems like you either have to have a lot of money or superpowers.
Superpowers aren't real. This is why Batman's the ultimate superhero, a billionaire playboy by day and a vigilante by night. Like, that is the only thing that is ever possible. I mean, Bezos looks like he's in decent shape, and Mark Zuckerberg does MMA. So
Mark Zuckerberg, yeah, I could see him. I could see him putting on the cape and cowl.
I'm just imagining Zuckerberg like breaking into someone's home in the middle of the night and talking in his weird way that he speaks. Excuse me, human sir. You have committed crimes against Lance McCullers on the app that I own. And I believe it was on either Instagram or on Facebook. So
it's his jurisdiction.
If anyone could theoretically do this, it might be Mark Zuckerberg.
Where is he? Where is he?
That's not a bad. The first one wasn't a bad. Whatever I think Zuckerberg sounds like.
Or imagination of what he sounds like.
And by the way, for those who don't know, Mark Zuckerberg sounds like a virgin, which he was when he created Facebook, but I believe now he's happily married and such. Who else could do it? Could we? Now, this might be a little rash, but SEAL Team 6, what are they doing right now? The people who removed Osama bin Laden from this planet, what are they up to? They could use some contract work. Would you do this pro bono? I mean, they've got to have an itch to go on the hunt for somebody. This would be a fun one. This would probably be really easy to do too. Again, this guy did it on social media. They'd be able to find him. If Houston police could find him this quickly, less than a month. Oh, absolutely. Or we could do this. Guys, this was a terroristic threat made by somebody in another country. And assuming it's not one of the big boys like China, Russia, etc. And on top of that, let's just assume that there's something that the old US of A could use out of it. Is it possible that we could invade this country? Is it possible? It's a terroristic threat, okay? Some might say that there's more here in terms of threat to American citizens than there was with, the WMDs in that one country. This is an actual threat. Could we use this as a way to do what we do best, which is invade other countries and, take their stuff in the name of democracy?
Imagine if this guy's from Greenland.
Perfect, Sean. It would be perfect. Or, maybe he's in Mexico. It really is going to be the Gulf of America this time. I mean, these are just things that go through my very strange mind. But justice is due, and I would like more than anything for this person who committed this act of terrorism online against Lance McCullers. I would like this person to be sitting in his home, slovenly on his couch, gambling on something else. And I want all of a sudden in the background, I want him to hear the sound of helicopters. We could play Fortunate Son or something straight out of Nam. No, what I want to hear is the sound of helicopters and blasting on the loudspeakers a little Toby Keith. We'll put a boot in your ass. It's the American way. I want some of that. R.I.P. Toby Keith. Because what happened to Lance McCullers is a crime, and I think our country can't afford to look the other way here.